Energy is the fifth parami. Energy relates to all other paramis. Nothing gets done without energy. Energy and right effort particularly their relationship needs to be understood. They're in some ways the same thing. Their right effort is the direction of energy. And you'll find in the instructions for right effort in the Eightfold Path that the Buddha often talks about stirring up energy. Energy in Pali is virya, and effort under the path is vayama. So they are very closely related, and they will blend back and forth with each other. I think even in English, energetic effort, we use that without feeling that necessarily that it's redundant. So energy and wisdom. I spoke about wisdom previously and how it connected with energy, and energy that is without wise direction can be very problematic. Lots of people who are ignorant or unskillful or evil are quite energetic. Many of the reviled conquerors of humanity were extremely energetic. Napoleon and Hitler and Mussolini and Stalin and Mao, you couldn't fault them for their energy. Very energetic, but misdirected energies. So obviously energy itself cannot be isolated as a perfection. It needs to be directed. And I think we see this in art and music as well. An energetic musical performance can be a disaster if it's not moderated by taste and tempo and delicacy. So this is what in the spiritual dimension, the art of energetic living. Energy is the central battery which has to power everything. And so we have a couple of things to discover energy, to feel energy. Lots of people are lethargic, apathetic. This is also one of the hindrances. It's translated as sloth, torpor, dullness. This is a hindrance, and energy is its cure. But how do you generate energy? So how do you wake yourself up? You must instill yourself with some sort of inspiration. So such emotions as urgency. Urgency is stirred up with one of the ways to stir that up is the sense of the brevity of life. So the fact that our life is brief at best, a handful of decades, and even that is not assured. So it's very uncertain whether we'll live beyond the next breath, actually. Funny things happen inside bodies and brains, and people keel over in the middle of ordinary daily life, or they don't wake up. So that is a fact that most people avoid thinking about, and when they get a terminal diagnosis or something shocking happens to somebody near them, they're suddenly surprised, taken by surprise when they shouldn't be. So actually we can use that energy, the sense of the uncertainty and brevity of life, to give ourselves actual life energy. Sometimes I give the example of rousing energy when I abstractly talk about the fact that you could die sometime. It's very different than, you could be very drowsy in a meditation retreat, very hard to, having had a big meal and it's now the 2 o'clock sitting and you're kind of slouching over and hard to wake up. But if somebody walks into the room with a gun, you'll be amazed how awakened you are. You will have vital energy. That is true contact with the precariousness of life. If you have a close brush with death, life suddenly flushes out, energy is created. There's also energy that comes from the joy of generosity, the unburdened feeling of virtue. So virtue, having a virtuous life unburdens you from remorse and guilt and fear as well. And so energy starts to flow from that. I'm amazed sometimes to see how energetic some of the young, the monks who entered the robes as novices when they were boys. They missed a lot of the opportunities to get into trouble, really. And their psyche is not burdened by a lot of negative actions. And so their psyche is light and energetic. So they live remarkably energetic lives. And this can be developed. And one of the ways you can source energy is to make a determination to live a more virtuous life, put the past behind you, not to regret or dwell in guilt, but to make new determinations to live in a virtuous way, and to share, to practice generosity, because generosity is a form at least of courage. You may not have a lot, and you may want to preserve what you have, but it's more elegant and courageous to share it, even when you have little. And courage is another form and source of energy. Cowardice drains your energy. Courage infuses you with energy. Wisdom is another source of energy, and energy is an aid to wisdom. Wisdom gives you energy because you solve problems. And so when you're grinding away on problems, existential problems, psychological problems, relationship problems, economic problems, all kinds of issues in life, it drains your primary energy. You won't sleep well. Your dreams will be haunted. When you wake, you're not fully rested. And so wisdom, and the wisdom may arise from your own processes, but also wisdom can be borrowed or received from another. Good advice clears up things, and one feels back to life, feels the surge of energy in one's life. So there's so many ways that energy can be restored, and the interplay with the other paramis. Patience and equanimity are also good sources of energy. Patience particularly because patience is the non-reaction to unpleasant experiences. And when you do not react, it's not a matter of gritting your teeth and enduring things. It's non-reaction. And normally people feel obliged to react to a failure or blame, something negative, even a delay in traffic. They follow the approved mode, and just like the characters in the movies, they swear under their breath and so forth. This is the depletion of your energy. But if you understand the value of patience, that you don't waste energy in negative situations, there's no need to react negatively to negative situations. Your energies will not be squandered. And so this is one way of preserving energies and not squandering them. So they'll be available to you. So there's so many. This energy just spider webs out into every other parami. You cannot do without any of them. They're core. It's a core primary necessity. We're experiencing this in the world now. We're trying to go from tainted forms of energy production that cause pollution to cleaner forms of energy production that don't have the dark side to them. And this is almost a metaphor. Maybe it's in some strange way, reality is using the literal production of energy to run the abundant life as a simile for spiritual energy. Eventually all outward physical aspects of life really become similes for the inner spiritual life. We see them all as metaphors for our interior life. So wherever you look, you will have lessons. Of course, the reason why all of this pollution and so forth is in the world is that people are greedy and careless, and it catches up with the world. It causes illness, it causes negative results, and it does in the same way in the microcosm of the individual. If the energies and the structures are not maintained properly, and there is not a good source of energy in the life, one will either burn out from excessive energy caused by such things as worry and flurry, which prevent sleep and all of the sense of ability to relax, or they will just drain you and you will feel tired all the time. So energy both within and without is the fundament of the universe. What would our world be like without the sun? It wouldn't exist. The sun is the primary source of energy. Wisdom, generosity, virtue, all are sources of this primary perfection of energy. And so it's absolutely critical, and one should reflect on one's own in how many ways this plays a role in one's interior life and the happiness, not only of oneself, but those around. To be with people who are tired all the time makes you tired. And to associate with people who are energetic, alive and awake, joyful, that also is a great help to the raising of your own energy. So notice all of this in your life, in the cultivation of this wonderful parami, perfection, virya energy.